Yes, Commissioner, this is Francesca Wall, W-A-H-L, with Tesla.
Please proceed.
Great. I'm speaking today in support of the Commission's consideration of Item 4, which is the Alaska Electric Vehicle Association's petition for rulemaking on creating electric vehicle rates for fast charging applications. As you may know, Tesla is an American manufacturer of electric vehicles and energy products, and that is one of our primary focus areas, but we also have an extensive network of charging infrastructure that has been deployed across the U.S. And globally, which includes approximately 867 locations in the United States. Today, there are no Tesla superchargers, which is our version of a fast charger, in Alaska yet. However, Tesla is committed to bringing supercharging to Alaska and very much looks forward to helping create a larger EV ecosystem in Alaska. As was mentioned by one of the previous speakers, a key component to the deployment of fast charging is really the underlying commercial electricity rate that charging operator is taking service on. And this is also one of the primary drivers of operating costs for fast charging stations. So in the absence of an EV charging specific rate, fast charging customers take service just like any other commercial customer on the existing rates, which include energy and demand components, which can be very challenging based on the fact that the utilization of these fast charging stations today is relatively low compared to other commercial customers, and the nascency of the technology and the industry in this space. Demand charges can account upward of 80% of the station's monthly electric bill, resulting in very much prohibitively high operating costs. And so in many areas, in order to help kind of address this current low utilization of these stations and the low load factors, there has been a consideration for designing specific commercial electric vehicle charging rates to mitigate the impact on those operators and customers. And so we are in favor of having this consideration be taken by the Commission in this particular instance as well, and to evaluate whether it be effective to help design rates that specifically address fast charging applications. So we appreciate your consideration of this issue and look forward to staying engaged.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any Commissioner questions or comments? Hearing none. Is there anyone else who would care to address the Commission this morning?
Yeah, this is Alex Loomer with ChargePoint.
Please proceed. Spell your last name if you would.
Yep, Loomer is L-E-U-M-E-R.
Okay, proceed with your comments.
Great, thank you very much for taking the time. I'm going to echo the previous comments from Tesla in support of the Alaska Electric Vehicle Association's petition for rulemaking. ChargePoint is one of the largest networks of EV charging stations across the U.S., Canada, and Europe. We've been in the business for over 10 years, doing residential, business, fast charging, et cetera, and we really welcome the opportunity to build out the network more in Alaska. Building on what Ms. Wall said previously, existing rates available to operators of fast charging stations impose disproportionately high costs on customers that are using low utilization charging equipment. With very few exceptions, commercial customers on rates that include demand charges that are based on the customer's highest measured demand are measured in kilowatts per given month. And this impact is amplified for fleets and other customers that require charging at high power levels and or that do not have the flexibility to adjust the timing or duration of their charging stations. For fast charging sites, conventional commercial rate design can often make an otherwise viable and desirable project uneconomic. For site hosts that have or are considering investing in EV charging stations, especially fast charging, demand charges are challenging for two main reasons. First, the utilization rate or load factor for EV charging stations may initially be relatively low because EV adoption is still growing. This, coupled with the high power output of charging stations, means that even a single charging session in a month, could trigger a significant demand charge for the month, even if the energy usage is low. In practice, that means that the site host's effective per kilowatt hour cost of energy could be extremely high. Second, unlike traditional commercial customers on demand-based rates, public EV charging station site hosts have very limited ability to manage or mitigate the impact of demand charges without negatively impacting EV driver experience. For example, a factory or large commercial facility may be able to avoid turning on several large loads at the same time in order to avoid higher demand charges. But by contrast, if a public fast charging site host offers 4 charging ports, the site host could only avoid significant demand charges by limiting the number of ports used simultaneously or by restricting the amount of power to each port, or both. Either action could negatively impact the driver experience and thus defeat the purpose of expanding the public fast charging infrastructure. Simply put, high demand charges coupled with low utilization in the early EV adoption period can be a strong impediment to the widespread deployment of EV charging stations. ChargePoint supports simple, understandable, well-designed rates that address these problems and create new incentives for private investment in commercial EV charging infrastructure at fleet and public locations. We hope that this issue will be taken up by the Commission, and we look forward to helping to grow the EV charging market